So, welcome to my third Desert Island Discs, and glad to see you still here. That was Blondie with Rapture, which must be one of my favorite records from the 80s. And Blondie somehow made a transition from being a New York punk band into a dance band. And suddenly by the early 80s, their records were being played in the clubs. So that was quite an amazing transition. Great work from Clem Berg to go from a full-on punk drummer to somebody who's making disco records, and I think that was definitely an influence on us. And we actually supported Blondie in the early 80s. We did one of our first big tours of America with them, and then we came back and played with them again in the Cayman Islands last year. And I've got to say, they're still amazing, and Debbie still has it, and Clem is still great. So it was great to see them. So thank you, Blondie. So that was Quiet Life from Japan, and how could we do this thing without having Japan as part of the Desert Island Discs? I've still got my flea-bitten copy of the album here, and what a great album this was. It was another band that made this incredible transition from a rock band to a dance band. They were kind of very influenced by early Roxy music, I think, and you can hear that in David's vocals. But the band just, they used this combination of sequencers and beautiful drum parts. Steve Jansen was an amazing drummer, probably still is, but a huge influence on Duran Duran. And I often think that Japan could have had a much longer career. They kind of made it to the middle of the 80s, and they just disappeared. And I think that was probably to do with David Sylvian's fragile ego, and the fact that I don't think he really liked the limelight too much. But I like to think we kind of picked up the baton from Japan and kind of went on from there, and we took that sound to America and we kind of made it our own. So heads up for Japan.
She keeps a Moet Chandon in a pretty cabinet. Let them eat cake, she says, just like Marie Antoinette. A building a remedy for Khrushchev and Kennedy. At any time, an invitation you can't decline. Caviar and cigarettes, well versed in etiquette, extraordinarily nice. She's a killer queen, got that.
So that was Queen with Killer Queen, and I don't know anybody that's not a Queen fan, and I was certainly a huge fan growing up. And I remember seeing that performance on Top of the Pops in England, and I kind of got half-baked ideas about wanting to be a musician and or a rock star or join a pop band. And that performance was definitely one of the things that pushed me over the edge, and I became a musician because of performances like that. And that's my favorite period of Queen. They still had a real edge to the band, so I love that record. And they had a drummer called Roger Taylor, so what more could you want? People often say to me, have you ever got mixed up with the other Roger Taylor from Queen? And I said, well, not really, but there was one occasion when I was DJing a few years ago, and I used to go DJing with my mate Jake, and we were doing quite well in Italy, and we got booked into this quite big venue in southern Italy, and we turn up for the gig, and it's got Roger Taylor and Jake Tonique in big letters on top of the venue, and we thought, wow, we've really made it now. Wow, look at the venue, it's huge. And as we get closer to the venue, they've got a picture of Roger Taylor from Queen on a giant billboard on the side of the building. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. But that's the only time there's really been a mix-up.
No, we need it so proud. We got to have it so proud. No, we want it so proud. Got to have it so proud. Give it to me so proud. Hey! We need it so proud. We want it so proud. We got to have it so proud. I wanna get under your skin. If I get there, I've got to win. You need some soul, come on and get some. And then you know where I'm coming from.
So that was James Brown with Soul Power. Wow, the man that invented funk, the man that really made me feel like I wanted to dance when I was younger, when I heard his records in a club. I did my first tentative bit of dancing, I think, to James Brown records. And I loved the way that he used to fine his band members if they made a mistake, if they slipped a beat or a bum note. He was such a perfectionist, and I have to love him for that. And I like to think there's a little bit of James Brown in my playing. I think the drummers that he played with really invented the funk drumming and disco drumming, and lifting the hi-hat and double hi-hats. So I have a lot to be thankful to James Brown for. So that's one of the many great records that he made. That was the XX with Intro. I love that band, a band from London, Wandsworth in London, which is not that far from me actually. But the story behind that song is I was in Austin, Texas when we were doing South by Southwest a few years ago. And we all went out for dinner, and I was sitting at the table, and the DJ put that record on. And I kind of jumped up and said, does anybody know who this is by? What's this record? And nobody knew who it was. And so I got up, went to the DJ booth, which I very rarely do. I like to just let the DJ play whatever he wants to play. But I got up and I kind of put my head over the booth and I said, what's this record? Who is it? And he said it was a band called the XX, and the song was called Intro. Great band, and we actually played with them in South America a few years ago, and I've got to say they were an amazing live band. So if ever you get to go and see the XX, go and see them, because they are something quite incredible. So definitely one of my favourite bands of the last few years, and I thought it was about time that I actually had something that was made in the last 10 years. So there we go. That's something a little bit more modern. As it's Duran Duran Appreciation Day on Monday, I thought I'd better play something by this lot. All You Need Is Now, Duran Duran. Got great memories of making this record, actually. We hooked up with Mark Ronson, and we'd made Red Carpet Massacre just before this record, and which was a great record, but it was kind of different. Kind of took us off the radar a little bit, and Mark Ronson really brought us back to the early days, if you like, of Duran Duran, and really got us playing together again and getting back in the studio and really playing the songs through, and even got us to play some of the instruments that we played in the early 80s. So I think I shouldn't say it myself, but I think it's a really great record. And All You Need Is Now, particularly the title track, is a great piece of music. I think it's a very jagged verse and very kind of angular, but then it goes into this lovely kind of Duran-esque chorus, which is very reminiscent of the early days, and it's got this great middle eight, and I particularly love the visuals on this that were put together by Nick Egan and our very own Gavin, and I think they're a real kind of perfect mix of audio and visuals that really works on the video. And I think it's a great album cover. It's by, put together by a guy called Rory McCartney, nothing to do with Paul McCartney, I don't think. And somebody called Nick Rhodes took the pictures, which are rather good, I think. This guy's good. So one of my favourite records over recent years. There we go. And have a great Duran Duran Appreciation Day. Thanks for listening to my Desert Island Discs, and I'll see you next time.